Now on KGW, a celebration of Oregon athletes and coaches.
Really feel like I kind of grew up in Oregon and playing at Portland. That was just such a transformative period for me in my life and in my career.
From the pitch at the University of Portland to Providence Park, where the legend of El Maestro lives on.
We decided to come to Portland and live in this town because we love it. You know, we decided that this is our city to live in the U.S.
And to the Diamond in Core Valleys, a baseball powerhouse, producing national champions and future MLB stars under the guidance of Pat Casey.
I'm very thankful, appreciative, also very well aware of the fact that the only reason I'm sitting here is because of my family and all those players that made it happen.
And the hardwood at Portland State, where a husband and wife coaching duo put together a dream team, winning 2 volleyball national titles.
I think probably within the second week of preseason, we knew we were going to be pretty good.
We honor the 2024 class of the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks for joining us. My name is Orlando. We welcome you to this special presentation between KGW and Sport Oregon. In October, I got the honor of emceeing the Night of Champions with Oregon legend and former SportsCenter anchor Neil Everett, officially inducting the 2024 class into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame, and recognize the winners of the annual Oregon Sports Awards. This particular year features some of the biggest names in Oregon sports history. We start with a soccer legend who finished her incredible career in 2023. Megan Rapinoe burst onto the scene at the University of Portland, helping win a national title in her freshman season. After college, she became one of the best players in the world with a long list of accolades. FIFA Player of the Year, Ballon d'Or winner, 2-time World Cup winner, and Olympic gold medalist. And along the way, she's been an advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, earning the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2022. Art Edwards caught up with Rapinoe to look back at her legacy on and off the field.
It goes free, Rapinoe shot, go!
Megan Rapinoe says she feels lucky and honored to be inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
I mean, it's such an honor.
Rapinoe had an amazing career. She's a Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, Olympic gold medalist,
To Rapinoe.
World Cup champion,
There's the equalizer!
Rapinoe cuts it back inside. Goes
and
to the
NCAA champion at the University of Portland.
Charles and the Pilots will take home the national championship trophy.
Kind of dreamlike almost, and we just had so
She
much
calls
talent,
herself
so
just a
much
normal
potential.
kid
It's
from
just
Redding,
amazing to live up to
California.
that.
Really feel like I kind of grew up in Oregon and playing at Portland. That was just such a transformative period for me in my life and in my career.
It's a career that took her around the world to places she could only dream about. But she says she always felt that she was a part of Oregon and the Portland community.
And there's number 30 in the career for Megan Rapinoe.
And I just feel like the rivalry between the Thorns and the Reign always kept me connected to Portland soccer in a really deep way. And that's kind of how I came into it anyways, with playing with the University of Portland.
Beating Ariyoshi, end-line ball in front, goal.
She's loved the game of soccer, the freedom, and how much self-expression is allowed and required to excel.
It's a big field and not very many people, so I feel like it's easy at times to stand out a little bit once you get the ball at your feet, and big stadiums and big crowds, and to be able to be a part of the game changing so much, and fan support and the growth of the sport. Yeah, it was an amazing time to play.
Rapinoe will strike. Rapinoe scores.
But for Rapinoe, it was about more than playing soccer. She used her celebrity as a soccer player to bring attention to social issues. She's been an advocate for LGBTQ rights. In 2016, she knelt during the national anthem at an international match in what she said was a nod to Colin Kaepernick. Rapinoe was also involved in the effort to achieve equal pay for the U.S. women's national team.
I loved playing, and I wouldn't change it for the world, but it was the vehicle that gave me purpose. and that showed me what my purpose was in the world. And it gave me such a bigger platform than I ever would have had without sports.
Now to another soccer legend who calls the Rose City home. His nickname is El Maestro, and there's no one who got the Timbers Army going more than Diego Valeri. He led the Portland Timbers to an MLS Cup title in 2015 and earned an MVP award in 2017. His club record for goals and assists still stands. Tim Gordon sat down with Valeri to talk about his journey from Argentina to Portland.
Here's Valentin picking up Valeri, chested down well. He's onside. Valeri off the post and in. The Timbers break through. It's 1-0.
Arguably the best Portland Timbers player to put on the uniform in the MLS era. Diego Valeri spent 9 years giving his all to the club, coming from his native Argentina in 2013 and quickly earning MLS Newcomer of the Year. The Timbers were not about to let him go. For Valeri, his wife, and young daughter, Portland felt right.
So the Northwest, we didn't know anything about it, but it was exciting for us to come and see, how was life here. And then as soon as we arrived in town, we loved it. We got in love with the city.
A midfielder who it seemed could do it all, Diego Valeri earned the title El Maestro during his amazing run with the club. After suffering an ACL injury at the end of the 2014 regular season, Valeri came back in 2015 to lead the Timbers to the MLS Cup.
And Diego Valeri is handed a gift.
The Portland Star scored the first goal of the championship game off the opposing goalkeeper's clearance. It was 27 seconds into the match, the fastest goal ever scored in Cup history. The Portland Timbers went on to win their first ever MLS Cup championship with Valeri named the most valuable player. There is no denying Valeri's greatness on the pitch.
Valeri, oh, it's an absolute screamer from the man from Argentina.
2017 was his best season statistically. A career-high 27 goals, while also offering up 11 assists.
It's a save, but Valeri's on hand. He has his second.
Scoring a goal in 9 straight matches.
We'll send it in, Valeri! There's the record!
A league record. The MLS Most Valuable Player Award went to him.
And my side was, create chances and score goals, right? And as I say, that mentality of, okay, we are the Portland Timbers and we're gonna compete.
But for Valeri, it's always been about the team and teamwork. One of the most rewarding times was in 2020. Portland played in Orlando, Florida, as the MLS got back to competing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Valeri captained the Timbers to win the MLS's back tournament with no fans in the stands, but lots of camaraderie.
And then we were playing there 45 days or 2 months in a bubble with the whole team there tight and committed to win that trophy, and we made it.
Valeri remains the club's leading scorer with an even 100 goals, also the all-time assist leader. After his Timbers career, Valeri spent some time living and playing back in Argentina, but then he and his family returned and reconnected here.
We decided to come to Portland and live in this town because we love it. We decided that this is our city to live in the U.S.
A Timbers great, Soccer City USA's Diego Valeri, now a member of the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
It's an honor for me. It means an honor because I got received so much love from this place, from the city, and I wanted to give it back playing soccer, which is what I know how to do.
At the Night of Champions event, we also learned the winners of the annual Oregon Sports Awards. Sabrina Ionescu took home the Harry Glickman Women's Professional Athlete of the Year. She helped the U.S. women win a record 8th straight Olympic gold medal in basketball. The former Oregon Duck also won a WNBA title with the New York Liberty. Ionescu is one of the biggest names in the league, ranked among the top 10 vote-getters for this year's WNBA All-Star Game. She even took on Steph Curry in the first ever NBA versus WNBA three-point challenge. On the men's side, Ryan Krauser earned the Harry Glickman Men's Professional Athlete of the Year. Krauser is a native of Boring, Oregon, and won his third straight gold medal at the Paris Olympics this summer. He also won gold at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest. The world record holder plans to compete in the 2028 Games in Los Angeles. We'll share more winners coming up later in the show. Still to come, he turned Oregon State baseball into a powerhouse program. Pat Casey didn't always plan to be a head coach, but the impact he's had on Beavers baseball is still felt today.
Favorite thing about coaching? Watching kids win. Watching kids become something they didn't believe they could become.
His journey from Newburgh to Corvallis to the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. Plus,
everybody's heart is fluttering, and then you're kind of, okay, this is it, this is it.
Delivering under pressure, not once but twice. A look back at the incredible run for the Portland State women's volleyball team in the 1980s. Welcome back to this KGW special presentation highlighting the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame class of 2024. Darwin Barney, Jacoby Ellsbury, Michael Conforto are just a few of the many Oregon State greats that played under Pat Casey. In 24 seasons at OSU, Casey turned the Beavers into a college baseball powerhouse. Casey led the Beavs to 3 national titles, and you can trace his Oregon roots back to his childhood, where he was a star athlete himself at Newburgh High School. Art Edwards caught up with Casey at his home in Corvallis.
For 3 decades, Pat Casey coached college baseball, all of it here in the state of Oregon. He calls his induction into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame a great honor.
You know, I played high school sports in Oregon and college sports in Oregon and coached in Oregon, and I actually even played professionally for the Beavers. So, you know, it's really cool. I'm very thankful, appreciative, also very well aware of the fact that the only reason I'm sitting here is because of my, you know, my family and all those players that made it happen.
Before turning to coaching, Casey was a 3-sport athlete at Newburgh High School, then played baseball and basketball at the University of Portland. He spent 7 seasons in the minor leagues.
You know, I played for Tom Campbell at Newburgh, and I played for Joe Etzel at the University of Portland, so I had a great experience doing that. And like I said, Joe would probably be the last guy to tell you that I'd be a coach.
But coaching is what Casey turned to, and he had great success. 7 years at George Fox University, and then on to Oregon State. He led the Beavers to 3 straight 45-plus win seasons, 5 conference championships, and 3 national championships. He has the rings to show for that success. For Casey, though, it was always about his players. I
was blessed to be able to coach. I had players that allowed me to make mistakes. And I'm just, when I see them and I see what they've done with their lives, it's awesome.
During his career, Casey's teams won more than 1,000 games. More than 100 Oregon State players were selected in the MLB draft. Nearly 24 have made it to the major leagues.
Favorite thing about coaching? Watching kids win. Watching kids become something they didn't believe they could become. Watching young men grow into real men.
There's a section at Goss Stadium on the Oregon State campus that bears his name. He retired after his team won the 2018 College World Series. He says sometimes his coaching journey was tough.
When you get down the road on the journey, you realize how sweet the journey was. And I say this when I speak most of the time. If somebody fixes all the struggles we have on the journey for us, they're going to ruin the destination. But I'll tell you what, when you go through the struggles and you go through the challenges on the journey, the destination is pretty sweet.
2 Oregon State Beavers were also recognized with the Bill Hayward Amateur Athlete of the Year Award. It was a remarkable year for Travis Bazzana. The Oregon State junior earned Pac-12 Player of the Year after batting .407 with 28 home runs, 66 RBI in 60 games with the Beavers. Bazzana is the 6th Beaver to become a unanimous first-team All-America selection. And if that wasn't enough, Bazzana earned his name called first in the MLB draft. The Cleveland Guardians picked him with the #1 overall pick. The only Beaver to potentially have a better year than Bazzana? Jade Carey. She helped the U.S. gymnastics team take all-around Olympic gold during the Paris 2024 Games. She also got bronze in the vault while competing at OSU. Carrie was an NCAA all-around and floor exercise silver medalist while earning a bronze medal in balance beam. After returning from Paris, she announced that she'll be returning to Corvallis for another season with the gymnastics teams. In college sports, it's tough to win a national championship, let alone back-to-back titles. But that's exactly what the Portland State women's volleyball team did in 1984 and 1985. That magical run was led by the husband and wife coaching team of Jeff Mazzocchi and his wife Marty. John Adams shows us how the Vikings pulled off one of the most dominant runs in collegiate history.
It would be hard to find a college team that had a more dominant two-year run than the 84-85 Portland State women's volleyball team. Jeff Mazzocchi was brought in as head coach in '84. His wife Marty was the associate head coach. They inherited a talented roster that returned numerous players from a team that had lost in the '83 title game.
I think probably within the second week of preseason, we knew we were going to be pretty good.
The Vikings would steamroll the competition in '84 and would match up again with Cal State Northridge in the Division II championship game, which was hosted at PSU.
Everybody's heart is fluttering, and then you're kind of, okay, this is it. But once they started playing, we played. And we played and we did what we were supposed to do, and we did what we were hoping to do.
The team won the title, sweeping Northridge in 3 games. As the calendar turned to '85, the team's goal was to repeat.
You know, we had a real mixture of veterans who were really good. We had 3 All-Americans returning, but we had rookies, we had freshmen.
Despite some growing pains, the '85 team would find its footing and make a run to a second consecutive championship game.
There was a lot more pressure because you had a target on your back. You win in '84, you're going to host again in '85, and it was more a matter of we have to make sure we're going to be here again.
For a third straight year, the Vikings would play Cal State Northridge for the title, and for the second straight year, they would win the title in front of a home crowd. In those 2 seasons, PSU would have a record of 69-9. The Mazzocchis's call the Hall of Fame induction a huge honor.
It's a reflection of a group of women that put in so much hard work to achieve a goal that they set for themselves, and they were able to do it.
It's a tremendous honor, and it's something we really, really don't just appreciate, but I think it's very important.
Let's talk about another coach who knows a thing about winning. Mike Johnston is this year's Slat-Skill Sports Person of the Year. For 13 seasons, he's served as the head coach of the Portland Winterhawks. This past season, he led the team to its 5th Western Hockey League Finals appearance, coming just short of his 2nd and team's 3rd WHL championship. Johnston became just the 11th coach in the WHL to surpass 500 career wins. He decided to step down as a head coach in July and is now the Winterhawks president and general manager. Coming up, go to war in Vietnam or represent your country at the Olympics. Rick Abrahamson made that choice while he was in the Army.
The opportunity to try out for an Olympic team was just like a dream, and I, without question, wanted to do that.
How a former University of Oregon basketball player ended up becoming a 2-time Olympian in handball. We wrap up this KGW special highlighting the latest inductees in the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame with the story of Rick Abrahamson. He grew up in McMinnville and unexpectedly became a part of 2 U.S. Olympic teams. When the U.S. Army decided to form an Olympic team handball squad made entirely of soldiers, the underdog team even pulled off a massive upset at the Olympic Games in 1972. John Adams has the story.
Rick Abrahamson grew up in a small town in southwestern Oregon. The son of a coach, his first loves were baseball and basketball. He would finish his last 2 years of high school in McMinnville and planned on playing on the basketball team at Linfield College before a standout performance in a tournament his senior year.
I ended up at the last minute getting a scholarship from the University of Oregon basketball, and I just jumped on it. I really wanted to be a Duck.
Abrahamson was a main contributor on the team his junior and senior year. He enlisted in the U.S. Army after graduating in 1969. That's when he was introduced to team handball as part of General Westmoreland's Army Champs program.
He saw handball in Europe. It's played everywhere in Germany, and he was on a German base there and said, you know, that is a terrific sport to get my soldiers in shape.
Westmoreland also pushed for an all-Army Olympic handball team that would attempt to compete in the 1972 Olympics in Munich. Abrahamson was told he could either try out for the team or be deployed to Vietnam.
The opportunity to try out for an Olympic team was just like a dream, and I, without question, wanted to do that.
Abrahamson would try out with roughly 75 other former college athletes for 7 spots on the Olympic training squad. He was one of the lucky 7 selected. To prepare for Munich, the team would head to Europe to play some of the best teams in the world.
Our first 6 months, we would go over there and get beat, and pretty handily at times. But we just kept getting better, and we kept improving, and by the time we got to Munich, we were competing with the best Olympic teams and national teams in the world at the time.
The U.S. team didn't win a medal at the Munich Games, but they did have one of the most improbable wins in Olympic history when they knocked off Spain, one of the best teams in the world.
To this day, it's the biggest upset in the Olympics since 1972. It validated our whole program.
Abrahamson was also on the U.S. team that competed at the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal.
To play and represent the United States, to wear that USA across your chest and play against national teams throughout Europe is a tremendous thrill.
The 2-time Olympian calls the induction into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame a great honor.
I know my dad will be looking down. He was a coach, and October 29th, he'll be looking down with pride.
After his Olympic career, Rick went into the business world. He has since become an avid amateur golfer and still shoots scores in the 70s, even at 77 years old. We want to shout out a few more winners from the annual Oregon Sports Awards. Lincoln High School's Will Semler takes home the 6A 5A Johnny Carpenter Prep Athlete of the Year. He's the 13th Oregon high schooler to win 3 boys singles state championships. Semler is now playing collegiate tennis at the University of San Diego. On the girls' side, Addison Fisher earned the Johnny Carpenter Prep Athlete of the Year award. Fisher may be the best softball player in Oregon history. She was dominant at Bend High, leading the Lava Bears to the state championship. Fisher was ranked as the #1 softball player in the country and is now at UCLA. The full list of winners is on the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame website. Thanks for joining us, and remember, you can stream KGW News on your schedule anytime. Download the free KGW Plus app, available right now.